Hello everyone, welcome to another MoMoRecs tutorial, and in this tutorial we'll be learning how to add records or how to create transactions on the MoMoRecs app. So first thing to do is to tap new record. So when you tap new record, it takes you to this page. So let's quickly go through this form. So at the top, it says all fields with asterisks are required. So you can look through the form, you can see all the fields with the asterisk. So anyone with the asterisk is required. So you can see select network, select transaction type, they're required, the phone number, confirm phone number is required, the amount is required. Yeah. So those are the required fields. So the first thing to do is to select a network. So these are the networks available. We have MTN, Vodafone, Airtel, Tigo, Glo, Surfline, Busy Internet. So I am using Vodafone. I currently have Vodafone in my phone. So that's what I'm going to use for this tutorial. I select Vodafone, and then below that we have transaction type. So you select the transaction type that you want to transact. So you select transaction type. So we have deposit, withdrawal, transfer to bank, transfer to merchant, SIM card purchase or registration, and then other. If for any reason the transaction you want is not part of what is listed here, you select other. But mind you, when you select other, you have to specify the transaction that you want to transact. So for this purpose, I'll be doing a test. So you will not have a deposit test in your app because this is for demonstration purposes. That's why I have the test. You will not have it in your app. So you can also notice every transaction is based on the network. So every network and the types of transaction they have. So let's say I select MTN. I only have MTN transactions, except for the caching test. That's the last one. That's not a transaction. That's for testing purposes. It would not be in your version of the app. So you can see, if not all, most of the MTN transactions are captured here. If I should select Vodafone, you can see also the same applies to the Vodafone transactions, except the last one, which is a deposit test, just for testing purposes as well. So I select deposit test. And the transaction ID, of course, you don't know the transaction ID until the transaction is completed. So you can skip that. So that's why you see it is not marked asterisk. And the customer name too, of course, you can input it or also leave that in, put it there later. But for the phone number, you do need the phone number. So I'm doing a deposit. I have to enter the customer's phone number. Confirm the phone number. When you are done, the next thing to input is the amount. So 1 CD. And then the reference, you can also input it or choose to leave it out. But if you need it, you should input it there. It's all up to you. And then the date and time. So automatically the app selects the current date and the current time. But if for some reason you want to change the date, you can always tap on it and then change the date. Okay. And then this is the juicy part. USSD autofill. So USSD autofill, let me quickly explain it. USSD autofill simplifies your work by autofilling the USSD input with all this that you've entered. So you would not have to enter it again in the USSD. So it autofills the USSD prompts that when you dial your Momo agent short code to transfer money, it autofills that pop-ups for you based on what you've entered here. So below, I'll demonstrate that quickly. Below the USSD autofill tool, we have dial and save, and then save only. Now, dial and save means it's going to dial the star for MTN is star 171. Yeah, it's going to dial the star 171 hash for you, and then save the record. But if you take autofill, it's going to dial it for you, autofill the inputs, and then save it. And then save only, for save only, it just saves it. It doesn't autofill it for you. It just saves the record for you. And now, if for some reason you can't or do not want to use the USSD autofill, you can always use the save only feature, which saves only the transaction. It doesn't do any USSD dialing and autofilling and all, doesn't do that. So let's say you have a personal phone, and then your agent SIM, the one you use for your transaction, is in a YAM phone, and you don't want to remove your personal SIM with your phone number that's in your personal smartphone, but you want to keep the agent SIM in the YAM phone and be saving just the transactions on your phone, you can also do that. So you can just tap save only after filling all this form. You can just tap save only, it will just save the record for you. But then you'll be missing out on the amazing things MoMoRecs has to offer, which makes you productive and also saves you lots of time. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. So let's quickly see how the autofill works. So when I take autofill, it will autofill for me. When I untick it, it will just dial it, will not autofill. It will just dial the USSD, but will not autofill. So when I tap autofill, and then I'll tap dial and save. So of course you have to allow call permission before you can proceed with this feature. So as you can see, the app is asking for a call permission. You tap OK, and then allow the call permission. And now the second thing is to allow accessibility for MoMoRecs. That is the service that auto inputs your USSD for you. If you do not allow it, it won't work. So I'll tap OK. It takes me to settings. It takes me to accessibility settings, and then tap on installed apps and look for MoMoRecs. As you can see, this is MoMoRecs, and then you turn it on. You tap allow, then go back, and this is all a one-time thing. So once you're done with that, and tap dial and save. So you can see it has started dialing. It's asking me which app to use. I select the phone dialer app. It asks me for the SIM I want to use as well. My Vodafone is SIM 1, so I'll select SIM 1. Also, you need to keep this in mind. When dialing the USSD code, you need to select the SIM with the same network as the one you selected above. If you select the wrong SIM with a different network than the one you selected above, the USSD code that will be dialed, that network will not be able to recognize it, and hence it would not work. So you need to select the SIM with the same network as the one you selected above. Yeah, so as you can see, it is auto inputting. I'm not touching it. You can see the keyboard, you can see the screen. I'm not touching anything. It's auto inputting everything based on the input I have provided. So this autofill stops where you need to enter your PIN because the app does not know your PIN. So I'll enter my PIN. I'll tap send. So as you can see in the background, you can see the record has been saved, but it is still up to the user, the mobile money agent, for you to approve the transaction, even though it's saved. So I'm gonna tap cancel. So if for any reason the transaction didn't complete, you can edit it or delete it. That's why you have this dialog after the transaction. So if you cancelled the USSD autofill at any point, or even that it was network related, let's say it says an invalid code or invalid MMI, incomplete or whatever, if it didn't complete, you can always come back. It brings you here. You can edit it or delete it. But if you tap OK, then it has saved, then it's okay, everything is good. But if you want to delete it, you can tap delete and we'll delete it. So earlier, you remember I didn't have the transaction ID because you only get a transaction ID once the transaction is complete. So I need to get a transaction ID from the text message to add to this transaction. So what I'll do is I'll tap edit. It brings back that transaction. You can see the customer name has been populated from the USSD. You didn't need to enter it yourself. So what I'll do is go back to my messages and then look for a Vodafone Cash transaction. So what you can do is to copy the whole transaction text. You don't need to look for the transaction text only in the message and copy that, but you can copy the entire message and then watch this. You copy the entire text and then come back, which is this one, the entire text. That's what you copy. You copy that, come back to MoMoRecs and then tap on paste. MoMoRecs auto detects all numbers or letters which looks like transaction IDs and displays them to you for you to select which one is a transaction ID. And as you can see, it's obviously the first one. You can see all the numbers are here. Anything that looks like a transaction ID, it captures that and then displays it to you for you to select which one it is. And you can see it's obviously the first one, so you select the first one, you tap OK. If for some reason MoMoRecs is not able to capture the transaction ID or it captured the wrong transaction ID, you can always just come to the transaction ID text field and then fix it manually. Enter the correct transaction ID yourself. Yeah, you can just do that also. And since you are okay with everything, this time around you're not going to autofill or dial again because it has already been saved. You are just updating it. So as you can see, look at the top, it says edit. So you scroll down and this time around you tap save only. So it has been saved successfully. And so when you go to my records, you can see that is the first one. You can see the transaction ID has been updated with the one that was sent via the text message, and you can see the customer name too will also be displayed there. So straight up, you can see this app solves lots, if not all, most of your problems. It solves a lot of problems. You don't have to write again. You don't have to send a USSD input and wait for the feedback, and send another, wait for another feedback for you to give your response, for you to send another input and wait again. I mean, that alone takes some time. As compared to this, you enter everything at once, and it will do all of the inputs for you. You don't have to touch the phone again until you have to input your mobile money pin. I mean, so it solves most of your problem. You can see it's a great product, and it's going to help you a lot in your business. And one thing I think I should say is also about if you are planning to get a new phone for this business, for your business, I would suggest you get an Android phone with 2 SIM, or the more the SIM, the better. That's basically it. Because if you have, let's say you have an Android phone with 3 SIM, you have your Vodafone, MTN, and Tigo, all of them inside. You are dialing, and it's doing the USSD for you. After that, it saves the record for you, and you can do that for all the 3 networks, all in one phone. Isn't that amazing? And the record is also saved for you after that. So yeah, if you can get an Android phone with more than 2 SIM, that would be great. So watch the other tutorials to get more understanding about how the app works. And yeah, this is really a great product. So thank you guys. This is the end of this tutorial. Thank you so much. Take care.